Everybody from New York again, and I'm now going to report back on day 2, which I think when I pre-reported it was going to be 5 agencies, and it certainly was. It was a very long day, but it was a very successful one, and we saw some really great work and met some really wonderful people. So yeah, it's been good so far, and we're looking forward to another day today. So the agencies we met yesterday, just to give you a quick overview: VCCP. It is currently the 3rd largest agency in the UK, behind network agencies, Adam and Eve, DDB, and McCann UK. So VCCP is an independently owned agency. They're very successful, highly creative. They have opened up in various places in the world, but really what they were talking to us about yesterday was their intentions in New York City and how the agency has been performing so far, and they're doing extremely well. They decided to, a very amusing presentation by the executive creative director, and he was saying, he was highlighting how many British agencies have, not necessarily British agency, but British people, British pop stars have actually failed in the US, and it's because of the approach. So they've taken the approach of going stealthily along in order to capture the hearts and minds of clients in the US. So they talked to us about that. They've also launched their Girl and Bear production company, which is now, they're now building studios in all of their agencies across the world. Yes, we had yet another discussion about the metaverse, which in fact this creative director refers to it as the multiverse, and he actually thinks the whole metaverse story is a fraud. It's all about gaming, and people who've gamed on the internet for the last 30 years know all about what he refers to as the multiverse. So yes, very interesting discussion, and this discussion has been echoed by agencies in and out all day. So we saw case studies for White Claw, which is a beer, a seltzer beer, more about that. A Google case study, T-Mobile, and that was VCCP. Then we went on to dentsu. Now, Wendy Clark, who is the global CEO of dentsu, has made a point of meeting with AdForum every 6 months since she's been at the agency, because she wants to keep sharing the successes that they are achieving as an agency in order to completely restructure. Their intention is to be the most integrated agency network in the world, and remembering that over the years dentsu was more of a media network than a media and creative network. But of course a lot has happened particularly in the last 6 months, and there are going to be a number of, or as Wendy put it, a slew of new creative director appointments, which are going to be announced in the next few months. So again, we had some case studies for American Express and General Motors, and they talked about what the chief creative officer talked about what modern creativity is all about, and that we will be sharing with you on the 1st of June, including how to get to the most modern work. So very interesting, and he showed us 3 pieces of work, which I suppose really were great examples of the kind of work that they are starting to do. And this was for Oreo, for the British Museum, and for something called Rumi, but more about that later this month. So the 3rd agency of the day was the Mars Agency. That's MARS, and it's not the Mars Bar Agency, it's Mars, and it's named after the co-founder with the original founder, a woman called Marilyn Barnett. It's a shop and marketing agency. They're 50 years old. They have very deep connections within the retail industry. They've also developed a superb digital tool called Marilyn. And it's this technology that is the key differentiating factor, and of course able to plot and help with the consumer journey. So digital commerce was the discussion point. We then went on to an agency called MI&C, and their positioning is we help brands live into the near future. We help brands live into the near future. Between innovations and early adopters, that's where they see themselves, and where they are particularly helpful at the moment is helping brands get into, guess what, the metaverse. So we had a whole long discussion on Web3. I have to say, for the first time, it was a really sensible explanation. And we heard all about Decentraland, we heard about Sandbox, and yeah, and more about the behavior of the Generation Z, which are the 18 to 35s, no, 16 to 25s, I think, and what their behavior is, what they look at, how they don't trust brands, how they only actually really trust each other, how they are very quick at detecting bullshit. So yeah, that was really fascinating. And then finally, the agency we met was Virtue, which of course is the inside, the creative agency within the Vice network. And we met with them at a lovely venue where there was a wonderful exhibit, art exhibit by Jean-Michel Basquiat, who is a young artist who grew up here in Brooklyn. He's half Haitian, and he died, of course, a few years ago. So we had the session in the art gallery, and we listened to Virtue and their 4 Ps. There is the proposition, prediction, production, placement, people, and their case studies. So that was the day, and we finished up at 9 o'clock last night. And one of the things that we always like is when agencies do this. So we saw what the agenda was, and we saw who was going to be speaking to us. It makes such a difference when we have little notes like this to actually see. So ahead of us today, we're setting out at 8 a.m. this morning. It's now 7:20 here as I'm recording this. And the first agency we're going to be seeing is Forsman Bodenforce. It's one of our favorites, highly creative agency, part of now owned by MDC or Stagwell. Then from there, we'll be going to Interpublic and meeting with Philippe Krakowski, who is the big boss. And the IPG group, as you know, is FCB, McCann, and the Media Initiative, the media agencies. So we're looking forward to that session, and we're going to have lunch there. Then we're going to have a break this afternoon, which is going to be great. And then we've got a dinner this evening with the CEO of McCann and obviously all of his whole team. So I'll be reporting back on that tomorrow. Have a great day, and thanks for listening.